Shalom, shalom wa ahaba, mishpachah, shalom wa ahaba. Peace and love, family, peace and love. I want to say shalom to the whole house of Israel, all 12 tribes scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, to wherever we've been driven to the lands of our captivity. I would also like to say shalom to the sojourners, the Gentiles, and the foreigners, and all those who give thanks, honor, and praises to the Elohim, or God of the Bible, and his only begotten Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, to whom many of you refer to as Christ. Hallelujah. Mishpachah, I think that you know, as the rest of the world goes and celebrates, these pagan holidays that have been around since before the birth of Christ, they've just put a Christian twist on, holidays like Saturnalia and things of that nature. But before I get into what I'm gonna get into out here on the family land down here, because that's what it was to me. It was an opportunity to get some things done, being as though we have these days off of work. But it was interesting to me, when I was looking into, the things that was in my feed, and I saw so many people, so many of our people, so-called black people in these divided states of America, upset about what went down with Nicki Minaj and Erica Kirk. And that just exposes a lot of the things that are absolutely wrong with our community. And it's actually good that these things are happening and bringing these things forward so that people can see ourselves clearly, because the backlash that woman received just shows you how much our people are caught up in idolatry. The fact that she even matters to people that much, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, this is a woman that, I don't tend to claim to be no type of fan of. She's pro LGBTQ, this, that, and the third. She's promoted nothing but freakiness and debauchery. But the point I want to make today with how these things expose certain elements in the hypocrisy and the mind control that the Democrat Party has over our people is that nobody had any smoke for Megan Thee Stallion when she was up there misrepresenting, so-called black people in America, you know what I mean, for the Democratic Party up there twerking and smirking, trying to get people to go out there and vote for those particular people who we see that if those people would have won. You see what's going on in Minnesota with those Somalis? That would have been going on in the whole country, because people was voting for that man, Tim Walz, who was the governor of Minnesota, to be the vice president of the country. But in order to trick our people and use idolatry and use these celebrities, you know what I'm saying? They drug people like Megan Thee Stallion out on the stage, and she was a total embarrassment to any civilized black American in this country. You know what I mean? Up there twerking and smirking, snopping and popping, slopping and bopping and doing all that messy garbage. Ain't nobody had no smoke for her like that. You know what I mean? One nobody talking about canceling Megan the male horse. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what a stallion is. A stallion is a male horse. Just like calling Butch Dykes studs is an oxymoron, because a stud is something that is guaranteed to impregnate the opposite species. And all these so-called masculine lesbians, the only thing they can do is be impregnated, you know what I mean? But I digress. But because Nicki Minaj, you know what I'm saying, who is of Trinidadian descent, you know what I'm saying, that is something that should be paid attention to as well, because we have to start paying attention to the people that they put in front of us that's supposed to be so-called speaking for so-called black America. You see what I'm saying? Because many of these people have different backgrounds and they do not represent us well at all. But the fact that, you know what I mean, she, received so much backlash and smoke, you know what I mean, for going up there with Erica Kirk, and when all I saw was, two hoes up there having a conversation, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not going to trick me when it comes to Erica Kirk, get up there talking all that white Jesus stuff and all of that stuff that she got going on. That's just an example of the hypocrisy that exists within the so-called white Christian community. You know what I mean? I lived amongst so-called white people for 4 years while I was going to receive my bachelor's degree at a Longwood University, and I saw the hypocrisy of the white church and the white Christian environment. You see what I'm saying? Or community. So what I saw was two hoes up there who go about their hoeing in different ways. You see what I'm saying? Up there having a conversation about politics in this country. And it didn't trigger me at all. And if you were triggered by Nicki Minaj being up there and, you know what I'm saying, with Erica Kirk, but was not triggered by Megan Thee Stallion, then I think you do need to self-reflect on is what's going on in the black community really about getting black people up to our full potential, or is it just about feeding our votes to the Democratic Party? And is everything in our community completely controlled by that element? You see what I'm saying? And by that particular party, you know what I mean? I'm not telling you to go out here and be pro-Republican, this, that, and the third. I can't say that I consider myself no Republican or no Democrat, you know what I mean? I participate in voting, but I vote along with my interests, you see what I'm saying? And my interest is keeping this right here as peaceful as it is to me right now, and keeping the taxes low, my gun rights protected, my children up under my control. You see what I'm saying? That's what I do, and that's what I believe in. You understand what I'm saying? But it is interesting to me that the black community had way more smoke for Nicki Minaj. She went up there and sat down and had a conversation. They do no twerking, no smirking, no rapping, no slapping, no japping, no crapping. Ain't do none of that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And y'all had way more smoke for her just because she was up there talking to Republicans than y'all had for Nicki Minaj, who was a total embarrassment to black women across this country. Every doctor, every lawyer, every school teacher, every woman that gets up and goes to work every day, honestly, you know what I'm saying, every shipyard worker, every employee of every kind of black women, black Americans that get up and go to work every day to take care of themselves and help support their family. Megan, the male horse, was a complete embarrassment, but she was not as much of an embarrassment to y'all than the Nicki Minaj situation. You see what I'm saying? And that right there is full-blown madness and foolishness. And that's foolishness we need to get up out of, Miss Picard. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And always remember to keep the fire burning. A little more oil in my lungs. Hallelujah, I'm Miss Picard. Keep your eyes open. Stay prepared so that you don't have to get prepared. And remember that your redemption is near. Until we meet again, Miss Picard. Kumar Yisrael. Kam Yasha'al. Raz Yisrael. Shalom. Shalom. Salam, Miss Picard. Hallelujah.